When I first started my career on Wall Street, it was a major investment bank. 8 of us started together, and there was this one guy who would show up every morning as if he just rolled out of bed. And within 6 months, he was gone, never to work again on Wall Street. Hi, this is Shalabh Garg, Finance Dad. I've had a long 25-year career on Wall Street. I've worked at a bank, at a hedge fund. I've created my own hedge fund, which I currently run. In today's podcast, I'll cover your first year on Wall Street, out of college or business school, doesn't matter, analyst or associate, things that you should not do, things that you can do better, things that I see people doing which make no sense, and managing your career in the very, very early part of starting out on Wall Street. All right, with that, the first few things that come to mind almost immediately. I started to allude to it in the example that I gave you. You dressing up well for that job, that your first job on Wall Street, is not a statement of you dressing up. It's a statement on how much you respect that job and your colleagues. And that's why it's important. I'm not saying wear designer clothes. I'm not saying go to the most expensive, tailor shop to get a suit, or go to the most expensive barber shop to get a haircut, or any such thing. I'm talking about well-showered, clean, and showing up at work consistently every day as if you're ready to go. Because that speaks to your employer about how excited and thankful you are to have the job that you have. And you will be surprised at how many young people don't do that bare minimum all the way down back to 25 years. It's not a today's thing. It's not a millennial thing. It's not the thing that people have become so used to Instagram and social media. They don't consider this important. This was the case 25 years ago. I think it was the case 50 years ago as well. It's always been the case. There's some of these people who think that their quality of work will speak more than the way they present themselves. I promise you, that has never been the case. That'll never be the case unless you work at a call center where you're just taking on telephone calls. And none of the jobs on Wall Street is that job. Every job on Wall Street will make you have clients. Those clients may not be external clients of the company that you work at, but you'll have plenty of internal clients that are your colleagues, clients that are your bosses. You have to deal your bosses as if they're clients, because ultimately they are. They're going to be responsible for your compensation, your promotion, your longevity in your career. That's number one. Number two that I can think of is that this is the first time as a young person that you make a consistent high income, right? Until now, most likely either you were in college or in business school, you've likely not had a job that pays you a couple of $100,000 a year. And now you have that income. And that may give you the sense that there's so much money that you have to do something particularly special in that job. And reality could not be further away from it. Even though the money you're earning is a lot for you, being that it's your first job, in the context of the firm that you work at, you're at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the total pool. Literally, the person that cleans the bathrooms in the company is the only person that gets paid less than you. So ultimately, they don't have you there for executing a responsible job. They have you there to train to become that person over time. That's what they're paying you. That they have taken the bet that your personality, your academics, your intelligence, all of that combines together to find the kind of raw material that if you survived in that firm for 3 or 4 or 5 years, they will recoup the minimum monies that they paid you leading up to that point, making you a professional employee of that firm who would then be adding a lot of value. So don't be in a hurry to add value. You're not there to add value. You're there for one reason and one reason only, which is to absorb like a fish absorbs water. You want to absorb the knowledge. You want to absorb the environment. You want to absorb details. You don't want to take every little thing that you've been asked to do as if your life depends on it. And I mean that with respect to making coffee. Not that many people today will ask you to make coffee for them, but it may happen that there's a social event occurring and you've been asked to make a reservation at a restaurant and to talk to the chef and take other people and your colleagues' requirements of dietary restrictions and to make what may just be 8 or 10 people of a group going for dinner, but you've been tasked with that responsibility. Do not take that lightly. Do not think of that job as a no job, because when you execute that little trivial, what you may consider a trivial job well, your boss may think, look, here's a guy who takes whatever I ask of him seriously. Maybe I can give him a little more responsibility and see how he does that job. And before you know it, the level of responsibility will go up. So don't take what you've been given as trivial, because if you've been given that, you're first of all getting paid tons of money to do any of those jobs. The overall compliance environment today on Wall Street is extremely, extremely strict. There is no human being at any level that is likely to ask of you anything that is compliance unfriendly, like arranging like a strip club appointment or any such thing, right? People are more scared than you will ever be about their jobs with this when it comes to compliance. You have nothing to worry about in that regard. So if you've been asked to do a task, most likely it's a task that can be asked of an analyst and associate, and many of the analysts and associates are doing those tasks. So hence, when you've been asked that task, take it seriously and do the best you can. Take those dietary restrictions for each one of your colleagues. And if there's this one person who is lactose intolerant, make sure that the chef at the restaurant makes something that can accommodate that request. That person will remember it for the rest of her life. Same thing with respect to detail. Mistakes stand out. When you do a job and you just do the bare minimum for it, it stands out. Now, whether it was a Word document or a presentation or the bare minimum of the bare minimum, I don't care. But those T's that you did not cross, those I's that you did not dot, they stand out to an experienced pair of eyes. When your managing director or an executive director or a couple of years senior to you person looks at it, that's literally the first thing she or he will look at. I gave this guy a job, and here you are, there's all these little mistakes, and now I have to fix them. Now, if he makes mistakes here, I don't know if I can give him something a little bit more serious, because he'll make even more mistakes there, and there the downside for me would be a lot bigger. So double, triple, quadruple check your work. That's what they're paying you for, just to not make mistakes. You're clearly not the person yet who's going to go out and win business. You're clearly not the person who's going to generate tons of revenue. That's all you have to do, not make mistakes and keep your mouth shut. Not very hard to do, right? But you'll be surprised at how few people are unable to do that, because they feel like they're making so much money, they have to quote unquote add value, not realizing what that actually means. You cannot. You don't have the job or the responsibility to add value. So that's where I've covered the most common mistakes I've seen people make in year one that leads them to lose their job or not do as well in year one. And year one is, by the way, very, very important, because impressions get formed quickly on Wall Street. It's not like somebody who thinks of you a certain way after 6 months of working next to you. It is very unlikely that after 3 or 4 years, he or she is going to change their minds about you. He or she may respect the fact that you become more senior by that time, but impressions will get formed and they're going to stay that way. Your detail orientation, your way to present yourself, all of those things will be set and never to change. Then the question is, if you've done those basics well, what proactive things could you do to promote yourself, to do better, to do things that can help you rise faster than the others and to get a bigger bonus compared to your colleagues? Network. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Now, when it comes to networking, it's a buzzword, right? Everybody talks about it. It's literally something that everyone talks about. Right? So I'm not going to sort of repeat what you already know. But here are a couple of things I can tell you. Networking has to be a little thoughtful. It cannot just be that I'm here, that person is here, I want to network, let me ask her out for a drink or a meal. It has to be a little bit more thoughtful than that. How can you make it a little bit more thoughtful? You can make it a little bit more thoughtful by doing a little research on their work. It's not that hard. Let's say you are in investment banking and the person you're looking to network is in a different industry group. You can easily figure out what is the last couple of big deals she did. You can figure out what was her role and success in those deals. You can come up with intelligent questions to make sure that she feels that you've done your homework before coming to see her for that drink or before even asking her for that drink. Do not miss company events. Do not miss a single company event. Be the first to come and last to leave. You're young. What reason do you have to leave a company event that started at 6 p.m. to leave at 7:30 p.m. because you have to meet some friends? Stay until the 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m., 10, until the last person leaves, stay there. Some of the best networking opportunities will come in the hours of 9:15 to 9:45 p.m. when most people have left, and there's this one managing director who has no family and nowhere to go, and she wants to sort of have an extra drink, and you're there, and voila, there's this amazing networking opportunity that's going to serve you so well. Do not get drunk yourself, ever. Ever, ever, ever. There is no reason whatsoever for you to have more than 2 drinks at a company event. That drink that you get, make it last forever. Keep filling it with water, keep the glass in hand. You clearly don't want to look antisocial. Everybody else is having a drink, so it's weird not to have a drink unless you have a reason that you don't drink, which is fine as well. But if you do drink, there's no reason to have more than 2 drinks. Keep the drinks light, keep the conversation tight, listen more than talk. I mean, that is the simplest thing you can do in your year one. Is listen more than talk. Your words have literally zero value. There's nothing that you can say that will be of value to anyone around you. Even if you're Einstein or someone of the level of that intelligence, you still will need some time to pick up the details of the business that you're in before your words can, before your intelligence and so on can reflect in the context of the business that you're in. So irrespective, keep your mouth shut and listen. And trust me, if you choose to listen, every word that comes out of people that are ahead of you by a few years will help you manage your career better. So I've covered so far, what not to do in your first year at Wall Street, some of the strategies to manage that year better, some of the proactive things you could do. The last thing I want to leave you with is don't be in a hurry to leave your first job within a year. I see that, it is true that if you're in a banking job at JP Morgan and within a year and a half, a private equity firm like Blackstone or someone else offers you a job, your comp very, very quickly will double, right? Because JP Morgan is not going to pay you anywhere close to as much money as Blackstone will within a year and a half. In fact, they're recruiting even as you start to join. Same is true for trading. You may join Goldman Sachs in their trading department, and hedge funds will be quoting you almost right away because, and there you can get a percentage of what you make. And the one thing I want to leave you with respect to that transition, that it's a one-time transition. It's not the case that you can join Blackstone today from JP Morgan, or I'm just making these names up. It's not important which was the bank and which was a private equity firm and so on. But if you don't perform there, within 2 years, your career will start stagnating and come down. So it's not a free option. It's not the case that because you got the offer early, hence you will also be able to perform at the level that a private equity firm would ask you to perform. It may make sense instead to use the resources and the training at JP Morgan or the bank that you're at and work there for 2 years or 2.5 years and make yourself a little bit more ready before you make that transition. Remember, the money will go up. If you're making 200 grand, you'll get paid 300 grand in private equity. But that will happen at a later stage too. As your income grows at a bank and becomes a couple of 100 grand or 300 grand, when you join at that time a private equity firm, it'll commensurately grow as well. So it's not like the growth will not come your way when and if you make that transition. But it's so important that when you do make that transition, now it's a sink or swim. Either you perform well at that firm, and if you don't perform well, you know what they're going to do? They're going to hire another class, the one after you, right? The sink and swim culture in a private equity firm or a hedge fund, most of these places are owned by one individual or a group of individuals. You're not going to rise up the ranks to become the owner of those firms. It's just not going to happen. Whereas at a bank, you can rise through the firm and become a Jamie Dimon yourself, because Jamie Dimon is going to die. He's a professional CEO, and another CEO will get appointed after a long period of time. That is not how the buy-side firms operate. The buy-side firms let you come in early, join a lot of people, use them for basic work, and after that they have to find their own thing. It's not like you're going to keep rising up and take Steve Schwarzman's job at Blackstone or whoever runs Apollo's job at Apollo. That's just not going to happen. They're not set up that way. They've been there for 30, 40 years doing the same job. They're not about to leave, and after they leave, they will probably appoint their sons and daughters to take over those ownership structures. So that is just how it is. So hence, I would recommend and advise you strongly to manage your year one well with respect to transition. I offer a consulting hour. I've been doing quite a few of those recently. It's a paid consulting hour. It's not for free. But at the same time, if you reach out to me through the box below you, through any of the mechanisms, email or otherwise, many of those individuals that I've consulted with on topics such as this are finding it very, very useful. And they keep in touch with me, have follow-up questions. You're welcome to reach out to me, and I'm happy to do that for you. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm looking to grow my podcast. It's grown quite a bit in the 6 months that I have done it. And with that, it's Finance Dad signing off. See you next time.